All right, the Iceman here on the Iceman's Return YouTube channel on this Sunday. Happy Easter to everybody out there on YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you may be. Uh, it's another weekend of, you know, very dull in rumors and storylines and whatnot. But Vince McMahon never seems to keep out of the spotlight. Uh, After his tirade um, about Monday Night Raw's segment when Brock Lesnar took out Booker T, JBL, and Michael Cole. Uh, they had Byron Saxton go in, and Vince was livid about how Saxton handled the situation so much that he had to send in Jerry Lawler. And after the show, when Byron went backstage, Vince totally ignored him. There's been rumors how Vince is very high on Renee Young, but right now he wants to keep her doing backstage stuff, pay-per-view pre-shows and whatnot. But he said one day her future is to be on the Raw announce team. So that's sort of interesting, to find out who she would replace on the announce team there. But we'll have to wait and see. Chris Jericho is also stating that on his podcast after Monday Night's Raw tomorrow night, he's going to do the podcast his way. And this should be interesting because I find this hard to believe that if Jericho does this podcast on the WWE Network, for him to do it his way should be interesting, just for the simple fact is Vince is still livid over Stone Cold's podcast with the questions that he was asking. And this is the thing within the WWE. You know, Vince is so controlling and whatnot. It was like at the Hall of Fame, they edited, Daniel Bryan's speech where he was going to say it was all fictional, and WWE didn't want him saying that. I mean, they're very picky about a lot of little things. They were picky about Alundra Blaze's speech, Kevin Nash's speech, but they weren't picky about Larry Zbyszko. I mean, who was just wandering all over the place, which half the time we didn't even know what he was talking about, to be quite honest with you. But anyway, Vince is like very, very picky over a number of things going on within the WWE. So Jericho and his podcast. This should be interesting. His guest will be John Cena. I'm sort of curious the questions that Jericho is going to ask John. I'm sure a couple of them are going to be about, fan reaction when he comes out. It's going to be about his United States championship win, what's to come, and whatnot. So we'll have to look forward into seeing that as well. Sheamus is possibly going after the Intercontinental title. There are rumors that it'll be Sheamus, Daniel Bryan, and Bad News Barrett at Extreme Rules in a three-way match. Possibly Dolph Ziggler thrown in, and it could be a fatal four-way match. I mean, that remains to be seen as well. We'll find out more probably tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw. But just with some interesting, news and notes going around the world of professional wrestling. Like I said, it's not a very, very busy weekend for any kind of news or any kind of rumors. But, I find it very, very interesting that most of the time you see a lot of headlines or reactions by Vince McMahon. And, a lot of them to us, it seems like he gets very upset over very, very simple and minute things. It makes you wonder what goes through that man's head. But, he did build the business. And, and I'll say one thing too, when it comes down with discussing WCW, they always gloat about the fact that they did take them down. And I find it interesting. They like to gloat about it. Stephanie gloats about it. Vince gloats about it. But of course, they cannot wait to, air WCW content and whatnot. I mean, obviously, it brings in a lot of money by having all these pay-per-views, Um, you know, such a, all the 12 pay-per-views a year, the Clash of Champions, the Monday Night War stuff. They're people are drawn to watch that kind of stuff, and so obviously, a lot of WCW's downfall, there was a good portion of it done because of the WWE, but a lot of it had to do with AOL Time Warner as well. Um, so, people don't realize that you can, really get into the history and read up on it, and you'll find, it wasn't so much WWE that did it, but a lot of it had to do with AOL Time Warner as well. So, you know, but anyway, with the world of wrestling, with a lot of things going on, people are, talking about TNA a little more because of the show's been halfway decent. It's been more than halfway decent. It's been pretty darn good actually for their 2-hour shows, and of course, with Lucha Underground, Ring of Honor, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, um, all these other little promotions that are floating around. It does make interesting um, conversation for professional wrestling fans all around the world, not just the United States or North America. It's just pretty much everywhere. So um, yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see um, really what develops. Tomorrow night on Raw. What's going to be the fate of Roman Reigns? What is he going to be doing next? Um, I know his family was upset that there was a last minute change at Mania where Reigns was supposed to come out with the title, but Vince changed it at the very last second. And, so Reigns' family was a bit upset. But, these are the things that you have to understand and consider in the world of professional wrestling, that nothing is set in stone. And especially within the WWE, Vince changes things at the very last segment. He's changed so many things, when it comes to Monday Night Raw at the last segment as well. So, you know, you got to understand the business, but more importantly, you have to understand the mind of Vince McMahon, because that is a very complex mind, and you can never really go into watching something, especially when it's a live show, that it's always going to go according to plan, because Vince McMahon, you know, he's always there to make that last minute change. So whether it's good or whether it's bad, you know, it's all in the eyes of the beholder, um, and the viewers. We all have a right to our opinion. And so anyway, everybody enjoy your Easter Sunday. Um, it's uh, just another day here in Connecticut that's going to be lucky if we hit 50 degrees. So, tired of this kind of weather. I mean, it's April. Looking forward to like the 60s. I can't wait for the 70s. And, and I can't wait for tomorrow, Monday Night Raw, and then the Foul Raw. I can't wait to listen to the podcast uh, with Chris Jericho, because I'm sort of interested to hear what he's got to ask John Cena. And will this be another upsetting night for Vince McMahon? One has to wonder. So there's always something, there's always something for somebody to complain about, just like there is here on YouTube. So, all right, everybody, enjoy your day. Peace out. We'll see y'all next time.